Man, it's always a pleasure to stop by and help out.
We're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
I'm sure.
We've got the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. So the Nets starting five. Martin is out there with Carter. Then there's Dimes. Then there's Klay Thompson. And it's Anderson in at the center position. And it's good for two. Kobe, for a guy like yourself who made an incredible amount of three-point shots during your career, what is it like watching Steph Curry? Just how much has he changed the league? It was always watching the dunks of Jordan. Now we got kids that want to shoot the ball from distance.
Yeah. Shooting the ball from distance now has kind of become like a home run in baseball, right? Where it's exciting to watch the ball in flight. I think it's great because it just adds more love to the game, more things that players can do or kids can do that can't dunk, right? It's like dunking was the thing, right? But now for kids that can't dunk, there's something else that's fun. There's something else that's entertaining, like shooting threes. Right? So
but boy, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, it's a lot of
hundreds of shots daily.
Yeah, and it's a lot of repetition. You know, Steph, you watch him out there playing and making all these shots. He's put in hours and hours and hours of hard work and continues to do so.
Now here's Johnson. Takes it from 10. Hits some rim on the way in, and the bucket's good.
Not an easy finish right there, but a beautiful move to give himself just enough space to get in close and knock it down.
And the foul called on Dimes. That's his first foul. With that three-point shooting on the rise, Kobe, if you were coming into the league right now, would you try to lean more in that direction than the incredible acrobat that you were when you were in your prime?
It depends who I was playing against. Mm-hmm. You know, I try to build my game to be able to do all those things.
And you could. I mean, you're like one of the few guys that could do it.
Yeah, so it just depends on who I was matching up against, which determines then how I would try to punish the defense.
I like that word.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a softer one. I was like, punish is a good one.
You're honest. Kobe, that fadeaway jump shot of yours is such a foundational part of your game. What's the key to that particular shot? And who's carrying the torch for that shot now?
Well, yeah, the fadeaway is there's different ways to shoot the fadeaway. There's the Hakeem Olajuwon way of shooting the fadeaway. There's the Michael way of shooting the fadeaway.
Oscar used to do it, and I know you want
Oscar used to do it quite a bit. So I try to use bits and pieces from each, depending on the defender that I'm facing. But yeah, there's certain players that are carrying that shot now. LeBron shoots the fadeaway quite often, as does KD. He shoots it a lot. Klay will shoot it. Kawhi will shoot it quite a bit off the pull-up jumpers and things of that sort. So there are a lot of players doing it.
On defense, the Nets. And Kobe, something that has changed in the NBA over the course of your career is the role of the power forward, the four. More and more you need to be able to stretch the floor, take your guy outside, shoot the three. Do you feel that that's a trend, or is that something you think that is here to stay in the NBA?
Well, I think things will evolve and things will change. I mean, you start getting power forwards like Tim Duncan and Garnett back in the league, Dirk. All of a sudden, it becomes less and less of a commodity to have smaller fours.
Right.
Because you're going to need to deal with the Tim Duncans and the Garnetts of the world. So I think it's just a natural evolution thing.
Did you, when you had to guard a big like that, ever fear going out and trying to get him on the side or even working him inside the lane where he would have more power, more advantage?
No, I never worried about it too much. What I try to do is I always try to study the film and figure out what their tendencies are, what their sweet spots are, and you just try to get them off of that. It's not necessarily about the size of them, but how do you get yourself in position when you can knock them off balance for a little bit and use the lack of size that you have to disorient.
Here is Doc after Joe Johnson's score. Good D by Thompson. And here in the first, about 3 minutes in, Kobe, a big part of the talent evaluation today is the psychological impact and that aspect, which I think will lead teams toward one prospect over another. If you were looking for personality traits in players and you were making that decision for a team, what What trait would you value the most in a player?
Oh, curiosity. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's curiosity.
Why so?
Because curious people will always ask why things work or don't work.
You were a big why asker.
Because that's the only reason you win, is when you can figure out why things happen or didn't happen. Right? If you lose a game, a curious person won't point the finger. A curious person will say, well, why did we lose? Instead of just saying, them. They're going to go back and check the film and ask questions. Okay, why did we mess up there? Why did we blow that coverage there?
Petrovic is checked in for Vince Carter. The Lakers trail in competition once again. Kobe, the thing that drives you so much, even on the practice floor, you and Jordan were so much alike in that regard. Is it important to go with your teammates and challenge them in those practices that you recall?
You have to challenge them, because if you don't, then they become conditioned to not have those challenges every day, right? So if you come off of a night, we have a back-to-back, for example, and you have a practice the next morning, it's our responsibility to step into that practice and challenge them as if it was the game that we just played the night before, right? Because if you do not, you don't have that competitive spirit day in and day out, where then you feel like you can take games off, because you can take practices off, because you just don't have it in practice, right? So it's our job to bring that every single day, so that competing just becomes a habit for them.
And you learn about their mental endurance, their physical endurance during those practices.
Well, yeah, you challenge them to learn about themselves, right? You challenge them to think about themselves. Can I push a little extra? I'm going to have to, because he's driving me like crazy. And if I don't meet that challenge, I'm going to have to hear his mouth all practice long. I'm going to have to hear his mouth on the plane. I'm going to have to hear his mouth on the bus. I'm going to have to hear his mouth in the locker room. Yeah. And I'd rather compete.
And with all the different technological advances in the league, you see a lot of player and coaches now reviewing clips and tablets and a lot of film sessions. I know you used to study a lot of the league's videotapes. How much easier is film study now, say, from the time in the late 90s when you got in the NBA?
It's so much easier.
Really?
Oh, my God. When I used to get in the hotel rooms, you used to have to call the front desk. They used to roll up the TV on the wheels.
With the VCR machine.
With the VCR connected to it, right? And I have to have all of these tapes. And you got to put the tape in, and you got to rewind it, and you got to fast forward it, and rewind it.
Yeah.
Now it's...
Yes, sir. Come on. Bring it. Oh, let's go home. That was just ridiculous.
I do not remember the last time I saw a dunk like that in a game.
And guys, it's going to be a long time before we see another one just like that.
Thomas hits the bucket. You know, Kobe, the league seems to be moving away from isolation basketball, sometimes called hero ball, in favor of more ball movement, more of a fluid offense. What do you make of that trend?
Well, I think it's the right thing. I mean, if you look at the way the Knicks played, for example, when they had Bill Bradley, Busher, Phil was coming off the bench.
Well, you are a historian. You love the history of the game, don't you?
Oh, my God.
I mean, I can just tell working with you.
Yeah. Holtzman was coaching. You had Frazier out there. I mean, they moved the ball. I mean, everything was predicated on ball movement, as was the Celtics with Fred Auerbach. And then in the 80s, things changed a little bit. You start going to more isolation ball, where guys would post deep and force a double coverage to come all the way down to him, and then you start moving the ball around. Now you start seeing a spread offense, where the ball's moving again like it was when the Knicks were playing, the Celtics were playing. And so, I think it just depends on the style of defense that you're seeing and the personnel that you have. I think that determines your style of play.
Kobe, you're a father. You've enjoyed that process, but basketball got in the way a lot of it. How do you balance fatherhood and playing at the level you played at?
Yeah, when I was winning championships there, our kids were still relatively young, or I should say babies. In my last few years, they were older and knew they could really feel my absence. And so what I try to do is try to bring them along for the process. So there were mornings I would wake them up and say, let's go. So we're going. Well, Daddy's going to go train, so let's go.
No kidding.
And I bring them with me. And they'd be in the gym shooting around or kicking a soccer ball around or hitting a volleyball around. But I felt like it was important as a father to not just tell them about hard work, but they need to see what I'm doing. When you're sleeping, this is what I'm doing here for 3 hours. And so they're a part of the process and feel connected to the process. But traveling and things of that nature is very, very hard, because there's been plenty of birthdays that I've missed and school plays that I've missed.
Here's Thompson. Now the pass to Dimes. And the Nets, another three.
And already they've staked out a noticeable advantage in terms of aggression and controlling the backcourt.
And the trend they'd love to continue right through the next 3 quarters as well, Greg.
So timeout called here, the first for Los Angeles. Traveling was a part of your job, a part of mine. You missed some things with the kids, but I know you take pride, Kobe, in the fact that you made it to a lot of things as well. You were not an absent parent.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, having a great partner. I mean, my wife has been absolutely amazing, which I think is extremely important as well, because she really held down the fort at home, which to me is the toughest job in the world to do. You know, I have it easy in terms of going out there and playing games, but to have the responsibility of actually raising young people to be outstanding citizens. You talk about pressure. I mean, that's, you know, I have to ask how she feels about handling that. You know what I mean? Because that's true pressure.
A platoon swap here for the Lakers. It's good. Ingram's got his first points of the night. Hey, Kobe, after dedicating pretty much your entire life to the game of basketball, a game that I know you love, you said you don't miss it. Why is that?
Well, because I've been through that process. I mean, I started playing a game when I was like 2 years old, and, you know, playing professionally for 20 years, and I left no stone unturned. So there's no regrets there. You know, I've done everything I could possibly do, and truthfully, the game is still with me. You know, the discipline has changed. The industry might have changed, but the same approach, the same things that I've learned from the game, I carry with me to this day. So the game is still inside of me.
Lakers passing it around. Ball no good. New Jersey leading by 7. To the paint. Kicks it out to Johnson. And again, it's Brooklyn converting. Kobe, and any chance you might coach or might be a consultant to an organization, for instance?
No,
not at all.
Yo, listen, players reach out to me and they'll call me and I'll give them advice, and I like it better that way as opposed to, you know, being tied down with one particular franchise. And you know, I like what I'm doing now, and any player from all over the world can reach out, and I'm there for them in terms of providing advice or counsel.
Well, the story got out last year in the playoffs that Isaiah Thomas and you had some conversations.
Yeah. Well, you know, he reached out and had some questions about how to approach that particular series, and I just said, send me over the film. What are you looking at? And I'll tell you. I'll take a look at it and I'll tell you what I see, and then you can go from there.
And KJ McDaniels gets the whistle. That's on. That's his first foul of the game, and the bonus will go to the free throw line. And guys, what do you think about the offensive approach we've seen so far for the Nets?
You've got to like the consistency with which they're hitting that mid-range jumper.
The other thing they've had going for them tonight is their passing. I mean, doing a nice job. Plenty of their points early on coming off assists.
Stolen by Ball. And here's the fast break. Ball leading the way. Keeps it alive.
How about that aggressiveness of world peace? I mean, creating havoc and taking swipes at the ball, that's what he loves to do. An incredible defender.
Pass to Petrovic. 1:10 left to play in the first quarter. He feeds it to McDaniels. Martin the screen, just 5 to shoot, and it's Meta World Peace with the foul. That's his first foul.
I mean, I like the call. I thought the defense was just there a little late.
Yeah, it looked like it. I mean, he kind of slid underneath as he got to the spot, too.
Looking at who's out there now for the Nets. Long's checked in, and it's Jeremy Lin in for Petrovic. 1:03 left in the first. Lin kicks to Long, and he could not get that one to go. Out of contact, and he'll go to the line for 2. That one is on World Peace. The Nets shooting their first free throws of this game. First free throw is good. Channing Frye's checked in for Los Angeles. And a change for New Jersey. Dimes is checked in for KJ McDaniels. He doesn't get the second one.
And here in the early going, missed free throws starting to become the storyline.
Yeah, and as a coaching staff, you feel helpless. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. You just hope they snap out of the rut.
Yep, it counts.
You know, guys, not only can Ingram score from the perimeter, but he can get it done inside, too. I mean, the way he releases the shot, that extension he gets on it makes it very hard to block.
And the shot goes in.
Well, that's one way he can finish, but far from the only way he gets it done. He's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve.
Now, here's ball. Defended by Lynn. Dishes it to Fry. In the corner, it's Ingram. 5 on the clock. Outside for Caldwell Pope. Connects from three-point range.
Defenses, beware. You have to close out hard on KCP and disrupt his rhythm.
Off the pick. Lynn's shot is off.
And sometimes, you know, you don't capitalize off a good shot or a good look. Still, you got to keep letting those good looks fly.
Right back after this break. Close game here as we get back to the second quarter. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from New Jersey?
I mean, what's interesting...
Well, Kobe, more and more front offices around the NBA embracing analytics. At the same time, a lot of veteran executives who have kind of the old-time group have been somewhat critical of that approach. Which side do you take on that?
Well, I mean, I think there's use for analytics. You know, what they do is they tell you what's happening. But you still need the keen eye to be able to understand why they happen. And that's what numbers can't tell you.
Put some meaning in back of the numbers.
Exactly, yeah. Right? It's tough to understand if you see a player shooting this percentage. You know, his first 5 games of the season, he shot X. The last 3 games, he shot Y. And you don't understand why. The numbers will tell you that. But maybe he had something going on at home that was bothering him emotionally.
Yes.
Right? And therefore, his focus was elsewhere. And so his shooting percentage went down. Right? The numbers don't show you that. It doesn't show you the emotion of a player.
And now let's check out the lineups courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. Here's the second quarter of play. So the Lakers 5 right now. The young pair of Ingram and Randall are at the forward. Point with Kentius Caldwell Pope to his side. They're the backcourt. And it's Fry in at the 5 spot.
You know, you look at Ball's size and speed and confidence, very impressive. An exciting prospect who I think has an all-star future.
Kobe, there are a lot of great guards and wings in the league right now. When you look around, are there any that remind you of the way you played or maybe are approaching, you know, going down that road and say, I want to be like Kobe Bryant. I watch a lot of his tapes, much like you did when you were growing up.
Yeah, well, Isaiah has a hunger and a thirst for the game. And he's not going to stop. He's constantly curious. He's constantly
His
working.
size makes him a different kind of guy.
Isn't that unbelievable, though?
It is shocking.
That's unbelievable. But he can finish at the rim. He can shoot the long ball. He can pull up left and right. You know, he has great physicality and a great body about him where he can punish bigs at the rim. And the other is Kawhi. I mean, when I watch Kawhi play, I'm just looking in the mirror. You know, the moves, the positions on the floor.
So glad you said that. I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's a great, great feeling because, you know, I'm sure Michael felt the same way. Right? When he retired and he watched me play, you're seeing the same spots. You're seeing a person who studied the person that came before, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel when the wheel's already been created. You just put it on a different car.
Well, you know, he has been guided by his coaching staff to watch you and Michael Jordan tape, and I think that's kind of what he's done.
Yeah, well, we've connected. We've talked about this stuff before in the past, and again, he's a curious kid.
And all business.
Yeah, curious. He steps out on the floor, he's all business. Nothing funny, there's nothing silly going on. He's here to do his job, and he's here to help San Antonio win games.
Back to Carter, fires the 3. That's good, and it's Johnson with the assist. And it's 7 points for Vince Carter. And over the course of your career, Kobe, 5 NBA championships. Are there any of those that really stand out among the 5 that you accumulated?
The last one, beating the Celtics. That was the hardest one by far to get.
Why so?
Well, you know, we're going into Boston now with the series tied 1-1. And Boston is absolutely excited about having the split and going home now and having 3 games at home, thinking that the series was not going to come back to L.A. And so that was an interesting playing flight for us. And then to go out and get the very next game, just to go down 3-2, coming back to L.A. And then to finally pull out that series after being down 15 in the fourth quarter against the Celtics. Thank you very much.
And in the history of the NBA, only a handful of players have lasted 20 seasons. Kobe, you played all 20 with the Los Angeles Lakers, an NBA record for seasons with one team. What does it mean to just having worn that Laker jersey your entire career?
Well, I mean, it's a huge honor. I've always been a massive Laker fan, even when I was a kid. And so I never dreamed that I'd actually be wearing the golden armor for my NBA career. So to be sitting here right now, having played 20 years, is literally the coolest dream that could have ever happened to any kid. Happened to me.
And I don't know that it'll happen again. The way the league is structured now, the money, the free agency, even though you had a chance to leave a couple times, you always chose to stay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you know, loyalty is a word that you hear thrown around often. But in this day and age, it's very tough to see in sports because of the cap, because of, you know, the free agency market and so forth and so on. So I've been very, very fortunate to have a great organization and to be able to have played 20 years of my career.
So both teams making some changes here. Kicks it to Thompson. Here's Alexander. There's the feed to Thompson. Out of bounds, the Lakers will take possession.
No clue where that pass was going. That is a brutal turnover.
And the Nets making a change here. Kobe, in recent years, we've seen a lot of players choosing in free agency to join up, join forces, join friends, other talented players. You know, think of Durant and Golden State, the big three with LeBron going down to Miami. What are your thoughts on that trend?
Well, you know, everybody's got to do what they feel is best for them. You know, personally, it wasn't really my cup of tea. You know, I'd much rather compete against those guys and do it that way. You know, if winning in LA wasn't going to happen, then it just wasn't going to happen. You know, I wasn't going to leave and go someplace else and join forces to try to win a championship.
How about recruiting players like, say, hey, come to the Lakers and you and I can do something special here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's fine. I mean, that happens. Players talk to each other, you know, play with each other. But it never crossed my mind to try to recruit another top player that I'm competing against.
Interesting.
You know, like never. Like I've always wanted to compete against them. So that's a little strange to me.
The game has been very close in a lot of areas, but rebounding has been the one differentiator thus far.
And Greg, we've seen it time and time again in games. Effort and determination on the glass can make up for a lot of other weaknesses.
Johnson, good.
Yeah, quick trigger. And from that range, if he senses the defenders have backed off, forget about it.
This is it to Dom. There's the pick. Thomas is... Green. Pass to LeBron. Over That's short off the rim.
And as he squares up from mid-range, the defender right in his face.
Yeah, I like the fact, Greg, that he crowded the shooter there, made him uncomfortable, got into his airspace a bit. Looked like he forced the shot.
The pass to Kuzma. Uses the glass to finish the layup.
And there's a pattern starting to take shape here. They're working it inside and getting good shots from close range.
Well, I agree with you. 4 of their last 5 baskets have been exactly of that variety.
It's Vince Carter on the wing, guarded by Fry. Yes, that goes in. And the Nets lead by 4. And Kobe, your spectacular high school career at Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia, in that Philadelphia area, paved the way for your NBA career. Talk about some of the highlights of your days in high school.
Well, my days in high school were fun. I mean, I played at a small high school called Lower Merion High School, so not too many people heard of it. You know, when you come to Philadelphia, the schools that you hear of are Overbrook, where Wilt Chamberlain went to school, Bartram, right, where Earl the Pearl Monroe went to school, right? But you never heard of little old Lower Merion High School, right? So it was a huge honor to be able to bring a state championship to Lower Merion and kind of put Lower Merion on the map. And that's the most exciting part about it.
Oh, a terrific screen indeed. A huge honor, I'm sure. There's a good screen. And Thomas, here we go, gets to the rim for 2 with the D all over him. Thomas got 9.
If you're going in amongst the trees, you have got to be aggressive.
Boy, like his intensity, Greg. He's not afraid to take it straight to the rack on the bigger defender. Right at it.
Pass to Alexander. And he makes good on the layup. Alexander's got his second bucket of the night. And Kobe, you've had so many fans from high school that carried over to your NBA days. In the stands now, in fact, you'll see fans with Lower Merion High School jerseys on.
How cool is that?
That's amazing.
How cool is that? You know, to actually be able to see a bunch of Aces jerseys in the crowd when literally nobody knew where Lower Merion was. And there's actually a school called Upper Merion. So everybody used to confuse the two. You say, hey, yeah, I saw you when you played at Upper Merion. I say, hold on, dude. No, Lower Merion, man. Get it right. Don't forget it. Lower Merion.
Nice job coming off that screen. 17 points for Dime.
And good passing, setting up a lot of these buckets right now, Kevin. That's been the key.
Time-dropping delights is what I call it.
Yeah, that's a nice pass. I will give you that one.
Yeah, he was on the money, that's no doubt. And Kobe, did the Laker front office ever talk to you or just brush an idea past you to get your opinion on things, whether it be a trade or a free agent signing or whatever?
No, we never really did that. We never had that kind of working relationship. And I think it's actually better that way because then it enables me to have a better relationship with the guys where they know I'm not involved in those decisions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because if so, it makes it weird, that relationship. Guys get traded and teammates are looking at you and it's hard for them to trust you and all sorts of stuff. The most conversation I had was with Dr. Buss in this very shaky time.
Yes.
Where I voiced my concerns and he said, listen, I promise you, you see the right trade, we will pull the trigger and I'm going to do everything I can to get you a championship. I promise you that. And after he said that, I trusted him completely. That was that. And then the following year, he made a beautiful trade for Pau Gasol.
He sure did. And a couple championships. Worked out well.
Yeah, it did.
That's good from Carter. Talk, Kobe, about some of the great one-on-one scores. You might be the best ever, actually. But when you take a look at the crop now, who are some good guys in that one-on-one category that you like?
Kyrie's sensational.
Yeah, great handle. How about his handle? Like one of the best ever.
Yeah, but he can post too, though. I mean, that's the thing is he can post up. He can turn left shoulder. He can turn right shoulder. He can shoot a left-hand jump hook coming across the middle. He can pull up going left. He can pull up going right. He can attack off the handle. He can attack off a triple threat. You know, he's built the game without any weaknesses. I think most players, should be thankful that he's not 6'6".
You're right. He'd be Kobe Bryant then, right?
Yeah.
He'd be Kobe Bryant. But I always thought that, and his dad played big-time college basketball, played in Australia. Your dad played. I mean, there is something inherent, regardless of how much, that comes from the son of a pro player.
Growing up overseas as well.
Exactly, in Australia.
Growing up overseas as well. And look at his game being so fundamentally sound and having basic structure. There's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely. And the trend around the league, Kobe, is more offense, more three-pointers, certainly spacing, fluid offense. Scoring is up around the league in a measurable way from, it seems like, year to year. Do you like the way this is trending, or do you think the NBA should maybe put a governor on this, harness it in just a little bit?
Well, I don't think it'll swing back to the way, I mean.
Do you?
Yeah, because the game has gone through that progression before. And, it's constantly evolving. And so I think you'll see it swing back eventually. You'll have a couple teams that are just big, and they have a dominant post player, and all of a sudden you're going inside, and then that team will win a championship, and then the rest of the teams in the league will try to copycat the way the game is played that way, then things will swing back. So it's just natural evolution of the game, I think.
The Nets making a switch here. Well, Kobe, it seems like the NBA is becoming less a position-based and more of a skill, position-less game. Perimeter skill now seems to be at a premium. Do you agree with that? Do you like that? Or would you change that?
Well, I think players need to be able to play all positions on the floor, right? If you look at the teams that win championships, they generally have every player that's on the floor can make a decision. Every player can dribble, every player can pass, every player can shoot, right? It's the reason why San Antonio's always finding themselves there in the end. The reason why the Cavs are finding themselves there in the end. It's the reason why Golden State's, because they have playmakers at every position on the floor.
They have basketball players.
They have basketball players, right? Not specialists. They have basketball players.
Lynn kicks to Anderson. Lopez with the steal. And now LeBron pushing it up. No one back to stop him. And finished off by LeBron.
He attracts a lot of attention, and Lopez making the most of